What if a flap fitting could virtually disappear into the cabinet wall? In this video, I'm going to be answering that question and others, so let's get started. Hello and welcome to another video from here at the Grass Academy. I'm Dominic, and today I'll be presenting you the new KINVARO T-Slim flap fitting. We're extremely proud that it received the 2020 Red Dot Design Award. As well as being design-oriented, it's also highly efficient and can be integrated into a cabinet almost invisibly. I've already got a model set up to give you an idea of how ingeniously the whole thing fits inside cabinets with a minimum sidewall thickness of 16 millimeters. All we need to do that is a milling depth of just 12 millimeters. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make all the adjustments, side, height, depth, and also the integrated opening angle limiters, as well as how to turn the damper on and off. It's all very exciting, so stay tuned. First, we have the assembly instructions that are illustrated. All the setting options, milling and technical dimensions are stated here. We have separate fittings, one for the left and one for the right. The side caps are the smaller ones here at the front. The correct number and the size of screws for the front connection, and the cover caps for the front connection. Everything you see here is included in this set packaging, so nothing else is needed. To better illustrate how you can now fit the individual units into the side wall, as in our model here, everything is already fully assembled. Let's take a look at the whole thing here in a half model, because this makes it easier for me to explain the various details. Let's start. Now here, we have all the things we need to install the fitting in one sidewall. Let's take a look at the fitting unit first. For one thing, there's a safety notice, because of course, depending on the type and the spring force, there's an incredible amount of force on the lever. That means, please just be careful when handling it, because there's a lot of power inside. Here at the top, we have the integrated opening angle limiter. And we can switch the damper on or off. The factory setting means it's automatically always set to active. And down here, we have a scale for setting the spring force. That's a scale. If you move the screw here at the front, you can adjust the whole thing depending on flap weight. Let's take a look at the back. Here's the letter R for right, and on the other side, L for left. And here, you can see at 90 degrees this rebate. If you now insert the fitting into this sidewall, the cassette completely reinforces the stability of the sidewall, so there's no impairment or weakening of the sidewall. So, let's get started. This means I first need my little cover cap. We need them first of all. You insert them here, and then click them on. They always have to be fitted first of all, before you push the cassette into the side. Now it's assembled, so I can now insert this cassette directly. That completes step one. Now we need the screw. The whole side, or the fitting, is fastened with just 4 screws. And here we already have a small mark. 2 at the bottom, 1 here, and another one up here, where the screw positions are located. That was the whole thing. The entire fitting is mounted with just 4 screws. And now we can go directly to the front connection. Mount the front connection on the flap. As you can see here, we have 2 differences. One has a red safety clip and one doesn't. That's the right one, and that's the left. The reason for that is we only have to perform the side adjustment on the left side. In the middle, we have a side adjustment screw which is not there on the right side. Why is that? Because this here is a floating connection. That means when I adjust it to the left, the right automatically goes with it. Then, here at the top, we have two arrows on either side, one pointing up and one in the middle. It's also marked up and center. And that's important when we see our front panel lying in here in front of us. We have the cutouts, one left, one right, and we imagine the centerline line in the middle. It's important here that you don't get confused about what's left and what's right, and that the two horizontal arrows point at one another where it says center. Okay? That means I can now fit one here. Press down. And the other on the left. And now we can screw them all tight. It's important to check that both arrows are pointing upwards and the horizontal ones are pointing into the center, because it's important not to get confused. Well, then we screw the whole thing down. Now they are fastened, and we can then attach the flap. Then let's assemble the front. We've got this hook right here to be inserted into the lever arm. There's a hook mark on each side. That just makes it easier for us to find the right place to attach the front. And once we've done that on both sides, we can press the flap down. Then it clicks, which means it's very convenient to attach the front. So that closes. It's okay so far. If you look, the whole thing now lowers. Why is that? Because the lift mechanism or the spring force hasn't been set yet. Before we do that, let's first remove our attachment aid and directly move on to the spring force. And as you can see, the whole thing hasn't been set yet. At the front is the screw. I now do this on both sides. Here in the adjustment area, you can see where the spring moves. You can already see that the spring force has been significantly increased. Then I set the right side too, and I always like to be parallel. When this is in the third field here, it should also be in the third field here. And then we've set the flap so that it stops in every position up to a certain point, and then closes softly. If you now want the flap to close a little faster or slower, you switch the damper on or off. With the soft close version, there's even an option to deactivate the damper. All you need is a screwdriver, and then here, I can deactivate the damper by turning the screw at the back left and right. Now, both dampers are deactivated, so there's no damping function, and therefore, the flap closes with a bang. Logically, the dampers are no longer active. I can, of course, switch one side back on again. Then the flap closes again, softly and quickly. When I turn on both sides, I have my normal soft closure again, a little slower. So, with the flick of a wrist, it's very easy to activate or deactivate the damper using a screwdriver. And with the same ease it took to activate and deactivate the damper, you can also activate the integrated opening angle limiter. From an opening angle of 107 degrees, you can limit the whole thing to 75 degrees. And to do that, you take the screwdriver, insert it here into the first screw, angle the flap down a little, and then turn the screw back on both sides. The flap is now limited to 75 degrees. The good thing about it is that even if a handle were mounted here, the flap no longer bumps against the ceiling. Or you can just get to the flap better to close it again. If you want to undo the whole thing again, then you insert the screwdriver again, and then turn the screw forwards on both sides. And so, I have an opening angle of 107 degrees again. Now, let's close the flap, and I'll now show you how to remove it. To unhook the flap, you'll need a small, thin screwdriver. To do this, you put this on the lever arm at the front. Pull the small lever towards you. On the other side, you do the same, and the flap is then simply lifted off upwards. And if the lever arms happen to be inside the cabinet, then I have the solution with the integrated emergency release. Now, to get the lever arm out of the fitting again, you insert a screwdriver in the slot at the back and press the lever outwards with the screwdriver. Then, part of it comes out, and you can then open it very easily. I can do that on both sides, and now we're ready to hook the flap back on. Now we adjust the front three-dimensionally in height and depth, and then side to side. Take a screwdriver. The first screw from here is then the height adjustment. Adjust the height on both sides. Then you can check the whole thing. On the right, it needs to come down a bit. We've done the height, so now we need to adjust the depth. The depth is adjusted using the rearmost screw. That's right. And now for the side adjustment, so that the overlay is the same left and right. Now there's something special here, because that side-to-side adjustment only has to be done on the left. There's no screw on the right. It's a floating connection. That means I only need to turn the screw in the middle right or left, depending on how I want to align this. And then we've adjusted the whole thing in 3 dimensions. You can see how the flap holds in every position. And how about the soft close? Closes slowly, and that's also right. One left, one right. The whole thing is hooked into these 2 fields up here, and then clipped on at the bottom. One left, and then the cover caps for the front connection. And now, the KINVARO T-Slim flap fitting is completely installed. Now you've seen everything that's possible with the KINVARO T-Slim. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram, and I wish you all a lot of fun in the meantime when implementing your great projects. We'll meet up again for the next video. And if you have any questions about this product or others, please write in the comments below. Have a look at the info box because it contains other exciting information. Until then, bye for now.